All right, it's July 8th, 2031. You can see the Phillies, not the dominant team they've been the last decade or so in the NL. We're 50 and 37, respectable. We're in the last playoff spot. We've got the Pirates and the Padres right on our heels, but we're right on the heels of the Cards and the Nationals. The Giants are just kind of doing their best Phillies impression here, playing 7-13 ball. I think this isn't totally surprising. We knew we had an aging team. We knew we had some guys who needed to bounce back. We've gotten some decent performances. We've had some disappointments. Expanded standings-wise, we have a plus 70 run differential. So we're one under that. That plus 70 is fourth in the AL and would be fourth in the NL and would be fifth in the AL. So team info-wise, we are ninth in runs scored. We are third in runs allowed. Our defense is still excellent. We've been above 500 every month, 15-11, 15-14, 15-10. We're 5-2 in July. We've just kind of been fine. We haven't gone on long runs of winning. We haven't gotten in big losing streaks. We're just 11-13 in one-run games. It would be nice to pick that up. Injury-wise, Aaron Nola went out. His first start of the year. He lasted a third inning, and he had surgery to remove bone chips from his elbow, and he's due to return in 3 weeks. We'll see about that. Mike Anthony Valdez is on a rehab assignment. I've kept him down there for a bit because he wasn't doing anything up for us. He had a 79 WRC plus and 166 plate appearances, and I'll call him back up. Hopefully he can pick it back up. We really need him to. We need a bunch of guys to pick it up. So lineup-wise, let's just sort by WRC plus here. Jadon Richardson, 61 plate appearances, a 170 WRC plus. I called him up to face righties instead of Pache. Pache's been quite bad. Richardson's up. I don't really know that I don't see him being a player who can continue this, but he can play a really good center field. The zone rating doesn't show it quite yet, but let's see, all levels combined. I thought I had this set to save fielding stats from every year. Oh well. But he could play a good center field. I'm not sure that he's the answer to the slumping Pache, but he's come in and given us a spark here over the last couple of weeks. Ethan Doss having an excellent season, getting more and more playing time. He's only on pace to get 344 plate appearances, but a 145 WRC plus. I continue to give him more at bats. I haven't put him in the depth chart over Soto, Harper, or San Miguel, but he's playing every fourth day for Bryce against righties. He's playing every third day for Bryce against lefties, and he's playing a couple times a week in other positions too. So he's playing a lot. I'll continue to give him more and more playing time with how well he's hitting. Let's see, Harper's really the only guy that he can get too much playing time over, and he's already playing multiple times a week over Harper. So maybe I just need to go in and have him play every other day. I'd like to keep Harper the starter out of respect, for now. Because then you got San Miguel. He's not going to replace him or Soto, both having solid but not spectacular seasons with 128 and 127 WRC plus. Nate Culbertson's come on a bit lately with a 124 WRC plus, only on pace for 11 home runs, which is strange. He had a year with 29 and then 17 last year. He's still walking a lot. He's not striking out a ton. He's a good player, but he hasn't become a star like he was for that one season for us. Shinoda is now playing second base against righties. He is a righty, but Ford hits lefties decently, but is just miserable against righties. So Shinoda's hopped in. He's been good, a 118 WRC plus in 42 games so far. Again, not sure he's the answer for a team that's trying to chase down a championship, but he stepped in for a slumping player. Manny's having a decent season, 101 WRC plus, doing Manny things, 18 home runs. He's not walking. His walks are way down. His strikeouts are up a little bit compared to last year. Drew Romo and Ali Sanchez, decent. Good catching tandem there. They're really good defensively, and they're doing decently hitting-wise. Adames with the 81 WRC plus. Would like to see him obviously pick that up a bit. His walk rate's way down. His strikeout rate's up. Not great, but he's still playing good defense. But would like to see him do a bit better. Bryce Harper, he's got an 80 WRC plus, just .1 WAR. This might kind of be the end of the line for Bryce here. He's staved off the aging curve as long as he could. He's got a 90 WRC plus against righties. Against lefties, a 40, and he's striking out in 33.9% of his plate appearances against lefties. So then we've got our guy Caleb Ford, who, it's probably just time to option him to the minors. Had that great rookie of the year, and then since then it's just been bad. A season and a half with a WRC plus in the mid 60s. Can't do that. I think I'm going to call Valdez back up, option Ford. Not that Valdez has been lighting the world on fire, but he has a better track record than Ford at this point, I'd say. And then Pache, a 47 WRC plus. Just serious holes in this offense. Against lefties, he's got a 37 WRC plus. Against righties, he's got a 51. I have him playing against lefties still, just because what's his name? Richardson is a lefty, so that's why I had him. I suppose I could put Caleb Ford out here against lefties in center field. I think he's pretty... Yeah, Caleb Ford has a 155 WRC plus against lefties in 74 plate appearances. Against righties, he's got a 31. Last year's a 66 against righties. He was bad against both last year. His rookie year, he mashed lefties and was league average against righties. So, maybe I can keep Ford on the team and just have him play second base and center, be our everyday center fielder. I don't know. He's fine in center field. He's got an outfield range of 60, not really ideal. Career fielding stats wise in center field, he's played 274 innings. His zone rating is not that terrible, but it's not elite. He's a really good second baseman. So, I'm not really sure what to do there, but I think obviously, I'm going to keep him maybe I should keep him up and keep him in the lineup against lefties because he does mash them. Or maybe I need to find somebody who can do it against, both lefties and righties. Shinoda has been good. I'm honestly not sure what his splits are. So he's 121 against lefties and 117 against righties. So he's good against both. Yeah, so I've got some figuring out to do here with the offense in terms of Pache, Ford, Valdez, Doss, Harper, where to fit them all in. We'll see. It's not ideal, but hopefully, Culbertson, Soto, San Miguel are good enough to carry the offense. That's the hope at this point, because it's just clear that some guys aren't going to carry the offense at this juncture. Pitching side of things, Trevor Rogers has been sensational, 2.82 ERA. Kyle Mott stepping into the rotation and putting up a 2.96 ERA, 3.41 FIP. He has 2.4 WAR already. He's been great. Carter Daniels, strong. Shearing, 2.25 ERA, 1.64 FIP. He's been good. Maton got off to a miserable start, but he's been better now. He's got his ERA down to 5.33. He was up in the 8s at one point after 5 starts. Josh Ward and Marinin doing their things out of the pen. Karsten, I might need to pull out of the rotation. He hasn't been bad. He just hasn't been good enough. Then Bourne, Melendez, Miller, all been great out of the pen. Ramos, I called up. He's been good out of the pen. Binderup's been a bit of a disappointment so far. 3.04 ERA, 4.74 FIP. His ERA was up way higher than that at one point. So hopefully he can keep it on track as our, very highly paid stopper. But run prevention-wise hasn't been that great this year. But his FIP has been much better than his ERA. So that's where the team is. To be honest, I'm not entirely sure what we're going to do with the trade deadline. So I'm going to go, I'm going to look at these splits some more, figure out who I can keep on this roster, who I can't. If roster spots were infinite, I would just platoon a bunch of guys. But you can't platoon everybody. You have to have some dudes who can play every day. So I'm going to figure that out, and I'll come back with a plan for the trade deadline here as we jump ahead. All right, so thinking about this trade deadline and what the team needs. Catcher we're fine. First base we're fine. I wish Culbertson was better. Second base is a concern between Ford, but Shinoda's been good. Ford can hit lefties, and I've got Valdez coming. I think I could make a move for a second baseman. I don't think I have to. Manny's my third baseman this season. That's all there is to it. Adames, I think I could go out and upgrade, possibly at short, but he's Oh wow, look at him. I hadn't even noticed that. I mean, it's a small sample of just 73 games, but his zone rating, yeah, he fell off last year a bit, and then this year he's actually negative. Ooh, Willie. Okay, well that could change our game plan for shortstop. You know, maybe Adames's time has passed him by now at the age of 35, and he can't play shortstop anymore, or he needs to be a backup. That's interesting. You know, I mean, we've got Caleb Ford here, who's played some shortstop in his career. His career at shortstop, 55 games. He's a plus 2.6, which is pretty decent. He doesn't have a great arm for shortstop, but his range is incredible. So, you know, maybe he could play versus lefties or something to spell Adames. So we'll figure that out. You know, Soto's my guy. I think center field, we brought in Bellinger last year when Pache was having a decent season. Pache's just, man, I mean, he's 32 and he's just kind of hit a wall. You can see, you know, age 26, his peak ended, and he's just been, except for this year, that was an aberration, but he's just been an above average player with a slightly below average bat, but a Gold Glove caliber glove. This year's bat's just, you know, it's really just unplayable. A 51 OPS plus, 47 WRC plus. You know, what's his OPS is what? 350 plus 200 is 550. So it's like 575 is his OPS. I mean, yeah, you can't really be a starter with that. So, you know, I think center field is somewhere I have to make a change. You know, Doss just keeps on hitting, man. Like, just keeps on hitting. He's now at the major league level, despite his first 84 plate appearances going well. He's got a 134 WRC plus. You know, I would have him play every day against lefties, except he's just not as. Look at how much better he is against righties. I mean, he's one of the best hitters in the league against righties. So I think I might have to bench Harper eventually here. I'm going to go with Doss playing every third game there for Harper and like every fourth game for San Miguel, like twice a month for Soto. So he's going to play most days, but eventually I'm going to have to put him over Harper, I think, if we're in a dogfight for the postseason. Then San Miguel at DH has been fine. You know, I think the disappointing thing is I thought between Culbertson, Soto, and San Miguel, I might have one or two superstars. I just have like three star players, maybe at best star players. So that's really hurt the team. But anyway, so I was thinking about, you know, I know I always mention my man Ken Giesky is like my favorite player in this game. He plays for the Pirates just because he's so much fun. Now the Pirates are in the playoff hunt with me. They would never trade me Ken Giesky in real life. They wouldn't look to trade him. But I decided with this being the last year of the sim, I would see what was going on. You know, the Pirates are out of money. They're set to run like a $41 million deficit this year. And Giesky is signed to a big long-term deal. Now, I tried when he was in arbitration to trade for him, and I tried like my 3 top 100 prospects and like the 2 best players in my roster, and they told me to get lost. They wouldn't trade him for anything in the world. By the way, he hasn't won an MVP, but he's led the league in WAR the last 3 seasons. It's tough, man. So, you know, again, normally the Pirates would not trade this guy, especially not during the season, to a team they're 1 game off with. And I think I would avoid this if I was continuing to play on the sim. But in the last year of the sim, I kind of want to see if I can get Giesky. And I did mess around with it some, and I'll reconstruct the deal for you. And basically, because of their budget deficit, they're willing to deal him. And it's also because they have Sammy Ciani. Ciani, he's ready to come in and play center field. Now the computer isn't going to. The computer just thinks can play center field, and he's a great hitter. You know, he's a good hitter. He's a 4 WAR player, and they have a lot of outfield depth. And Tommy Edman is having a great year and can come in and be their right fielder. So they have a ton of outfield depth, and they also have a terrible pitching staff. Their bullpen ERA is last in the NL. Overall, they're 11th in runs allowed, and they're 2nd in runs scored. So it makes sense that they'd look to bring in pitching and maybe trade some hitting, but they wouldn't trade their MVP center fielder. But again, we're going to look at it this year just because last year for the sim, you know, I've obviously had a crush on this guy forever. I've mentioned him in multiple videos how much I like him. So I think I'm going to do it because it's fun. So I started off by trying to give them hitters. I was like, hey, I'll give you Danny San Miguel. They're like, you're a joke. I'll give you Ethan Doss. Stop wasting my time. How about Juan Soto? Oh, 10-5. Caleb Ford, former Rookie of the Year. Absolutely no chance. Let's see if we say make this work now and identify people that they like. No player will make this deal work. How about Nate Culberson? No. So then I started looking at pitching. Let me see. I can't remember how I got on the pitching track. Let me see if I can identify a pitcher that they really like. So I found out that they really, really like Andy Bourne. And it makes sense. This is a guy who was a 5th-round pick in 2026. You can see he's been a top 100 prospect. He's no longer prospect eligible, but last year he was number 75 prospect in baseball, his last eligible year for being a prospect. He was high as number 52 in 2029. That was the highest he got. And he's come up, and he hasn't gotten a chance in my rotation because I have such good depth. He's a Baltimore boy. But, you know, he's going to be a really good starter. I mean, look at this change-up control, the slider, the stuff is good, the fastball is good. He's striking out 11 guys per 9. This guy's going to probably be a really good starting pitcher. He's also a leader. He's got good work ethic, and it rubs off on teammates. This is a very, very good player, and I can see why they would covet him. He's also on a league minimum deal this year and next year, so he's cheap as well. So this was a guy that they really liked. You'll need to offer a lot more for this deal, and I'm sure he's going to go right into the rotation. So now if I do make this work, they basically just give me a list of pitchers. Carter Daniels is in our rotation. Maton is in our rotation, a top pitcher. Melendez is a top young starter who's in our bullpen. Miller is a really good bullpen arm. Mott is a great starter. Shearing is one of the best bullpen arms in baseball. Ward is a guy who was did he win Rookie of the Year? He's got an MVP votes as my long man and Cy Young votes as my long man because he's so good. Now, the one guy that I don't really use is Dave Bykowski. He's in AAA for me. But I just wanted to show you that list to see, you know, they basically want 2 of my top arms. And with the one caveat being they value Bykowski as much as a lot of my top arms. Now I can see why. This guy's going to step in and be their best bullpen pitcher, I'm sure. I haven't used him a ton this year. He's been down in AAA. Honestly, he was not on my radar because I wasn't controlling my minor leagues, and I just noticed, I was like, oh shoot, this guy's in AAA and he should be part of my bullpen. So he's been part of the bullpen this year, off and on. But so I can get Giesky for Bourne and Bykowski, which is not a deal they should do. Now, if they were getting like Carter Daniels and Bourne, that makes more sense, but I'm not going to do that. And actually, I found I could do it for Shearing and Bykowski, 2 relievers, but I felt kind of bad doing that. I was like, all right, let's at least give them, because Shearing is one of the best bullpens arm in baseball. But, you know, at least with Bourne, it's like, oh, they're getting back a cheap young starter who's in his prime, as well as a guy who's going to be their closer. So these are probably going to be 2 of their best pitchers. And now, again, you know, obviously this would not happen, but they are $62 million in the hole. So they're willing to trade Giesky to address their pitching problems because they have other guys who can step in center field. Oh, I didn't even notice this guy. Oh, he's their left fielder. Their outfield's good, man. They're stacked. So, yeah, I mean, I think I'm just going to do this trade. Now, what that's going to do for my pitching staff is Bourne, who is just middle relief and set up for me. He's really good, 2.62 ERA. He's one of my better relievers this year. So he's not going to be there anymore. And Bykowski is probably my next guy up, and he's not going to be there anymore either. But I do have, so Drew Gray was just really bad this year. So I optioned him, and he's down in AAA now. I can call him back up. I mean, he's been an all-star for me. Joe Eaton is a good guy. So it hits my depth some, but I have all this pitching depth. So I think that's obviously a deal I'm going to make. I don't know what's going to come of Pache after this, just because, I mean, I'm not sending down Doss. Pache is going to be an extra outfielder. Let's see if they'll even accept him in the deal. Oh, 10-5. Well, he's going to get DFA'd then, probably. Which is a shame, because he's still a usable player. This glove is so good, but with Giesky, I can I can replace him with a MVP caliber player for the second year in a row. So yeah, I'm gonna do this, and not to belabor the point, but again, I'd probably refrain from making this trade during the regular season. I would probably wait till the offseason and then trade for him, just because the Pirates wouldn't make this trade during the season when they're trying to contend. They would probably try to cut payroll after the season. So I think I could also address the starting rotation. Will Carson has not been great. Carter Daniels has been shaky at times. Maton got off to a really slow start, but's been good. So I think it would help to maybe replace Carson and put him in the bullpen. He's been he's been an all-starter for me since he came up, basically. But this year's just not been his year. Strikeouts are down, or walks are up. His home runs are up. Just not a great year for him, and we're trying to win. So one deal that I found that I don't know if I love it, but the Royals are rebuilding, and they have Charlie Neuweiler, who's a free agent after this year. He won the Cy Young in 2030 last year. He's won 2 Gold Gloves and an All-Star team. He's not having a great year, and he's never been a great FIP guy. Always a very good. Actually, he's never really been all that. He's been fine. Let me just say it. He's been fine. He's got a career ERA plus of 96 and a FIP minus 96. So he's right around a league average pitcher who was a Cy Young winner last year, and he's fine this year. I think if I get him in front of my defense, bring this BABIP way down, I think with this movement and these pitches, I think he'd thrive with me. And so I was thinking about bringing in a reliever too with him, but I just don't think I need to. So this is, let's see if they're willing to do it for just Cintrone. Yeah, okay. So they're willing to eat 20%. Are you willing to eat more than that? No, they're willing to eat a lot of this deal. So they're willing to eat 55% for this guy, who looks like a decent player. Luis Cintrone, but he's a corner outfielder, so I'm not that worried about getting rid of him. He's also a left-handed bat, so I'm not that worried about getting rid of him. Lefty corner outfielders seem to be really common. But you can see he's hit really well everywhere he's been. His WRC plus has been really good. He's in high A this year. I don't see much of a future with him as a pitcher, but I think this is a legit kind of deal that would go down. A good prospect who's not a top prospect, who's having a good year for a guy on an expiring deal. For a team that's out of contention. So I think I'll probably bring in Neuweiler, and then he'll kind of take Bourne's spot on the roster and go into the rotation. Then Carson will come out of the rotation and go into the bullpen. So I won't need to call anybody up. And then here, honestly, I think if Pache's not willing to be moved, I think I'm going to DFA him, which is a sad ending, but he's just been so miserably bad this season that he's just unplayable. I can deal with a 75 WRC plus, 80 WRC plus, maybe over half a season if you're a Gold Glove caliber player, but I can't do it if you're below 50. His zone rating is still good. He's still a good fielder. Still like Gold Glove caliber, I'd say. But we're going to bring in Gieske, and he's going to do it instead. So I don't know what I'm going to do about shortstop. Honestly, I hadn't noticed that Willie is no longer a good fielder. Maybe we'll just, let Ford be the defensive sub. Let Ford get some playing time there since he's now the backup second baseman, and just kind of split time with Adames. But I'm not really sure. But so, yeah, I'm going to do those 2 deals. We're going to bring in Gieske and Neuweiler, and then probably just kind of sit on the shortstop decision for now until closer to the deadline. So I'm going to make those deals, sim forward a little bit, and then we'll jump ahead and kind of finalize the deadline here. We are now at July 31st, 2031, trade deadline day. Trade deadline day here. We're 63 and 45. We're in 4th place. If you pick up some background noise, I got the windows open, and it feels really nice. We're just keeping it casual here in our last season. We got our tie pulled down a little bit, our top button unbuttoned, and maybe some birds in the background. So it's trade deadline day, and we are a game up on the Padres, 3 games up on the Pirates. The Braves and the Diamondbacks are kind of in the mix. We have gone, what is our record in July? It is 18 and 10, so a pretty successful July here. Runs scored were 10th, runs allowed were 3rd. didn't make any more trades yet, and I don't think I'm going to, but I made a waiver claim that I think you guys are going to love. I was looking at the second base market because basically it just didn't go well in July at second base, which I don't want to base anybody off of 1 month's worth of at-bats, but we were already kind of shaky there. So this moved us in the other direction. Shinoda, who we thought had taken over and kind of done well, had a -8 WRC plus in 6-7 plate appearances. Caleb Ford, a WRC plus of 6. None of that's going to cut it. I mean, Bryce Harper's isn't going to either, but we'll forgive him. He's a franchise legend. So we made a waiver claim. And by the way, we made the waiver claim of Bryson Stott. He was with the Portland Pickles. This is, second base legend. He was with us for 2023 to 2028 with the big league club. He's our starting second baseman. He's kind of bounced around since then and not been too good, but he's having a great year for Portland. He was on the trade block, and I was planning on trading for him, but then they put him on waivers like earlier this week. So pounced all over it. He's got a 117 WRC plus this season. He's a lefty, which my lineup is so lefty heavy now, it's absurd. But so he's going to come in and I think play second base against righties. So Juan Soto is on the IL. So Pache is still around right now as our backup outfielder, backup center fielder. Soto's got a week left on the IL. So Pache will be DFA'd at that point, I think, once Soto's back. For now, we'll bring Stott in, and I think we'll option Caleb Ford. Now, when Pache is optioned, we don't really have a backup center fielder. So it's very likely that at that time, I will option Shinoda and bring up Ford to be our backup center fielder, unless Shinoda's just not going to cover off the ball in the next week. Then I'll make do with whoever is my backup center fielder. GSK will play most every day anyways. So for now, we're gonna option Ford to the minors. How the mighty have fallen. What a terrible fall from grace for him. We're gonna bring in Bryson Stott. He's a second baseman. Come on now. I mean, he could back up at shortstop, but really he's a second baseman. And I think he could still be a good one. He's having a really good year. I'm excited that he's back. It's kind of fun to have him back. So against righties, Shinoda will go and be if the starter's tired, and Bryson Stott will come in and be yet another lefty bat for us. This is crazy. What am I going to do with this lineup? I think I'm going to do that. Try to break up the the lefties a little bit. Maybe I could put San Miguel. No, I don't really know, man. I want Jeski cleanup. Here, let's do this. Let's do... Will that be any better? No, this isn't any better. So many lefty bats. And we'll let Stott back up at shortstop too. Maybe Shinoda. Yeah, I mean, Shinoda should probably be our backup shortstop, actually, with that 70 range. We'll let him play there like every 5 days for Adames. And then against lefties, we'll bring Shinoda in. We'll make Valdez the backup here. Stott will be our backup shortstop. And he'll play once a... Well, no, not as a lefty. We'll let him play when the starter's tired. So what are we going to do with our bats here? We'll let San Miguel bat third, Jeski fourth. We'll break up the lefty-righties here. I think that probably works fine for us. Yeah, I might tinker with that lineup some, but I think that's fine. This team is more lefty-heavy than I'd like, but we'll get by. And Valdez will start here. And we're going to do defensive replacement. So I'm going to put Shinoda as the defensive sub at second. So that way on the days Valdez plays, he still comes in. And we're going to do it here with Bryson Stott. Cool. And we got Adames there. We probably don't need him to be that. Pache, the left field defensive sub. Harper, the right field. And that's all for the days Valdez is here, really. And this all looks good to go. So, yeah, I think that's the team. Jeski has gotten off to a decent start. 81 plate appearances, a 136 WRC+. He's put up .8 WAR in those 20 games. Pitching side of things, good old Charlie Neuweiler has thrown 21 innings with a 3.43 ERA, a 4.42 FIP. His strikeouts are up. His walks are up, though, too. Home runs are about the same. But league average FIP, ERA 30% above league average. So hopefully he can continue to pitch well there in that spot for us. And Aaron Nola is out on a rehab assignment. He's got 25 days left. Looks like he threw 3 1/3 and gave up a run and a couple hits. So we'll let him. I'm going to let him be down there for a little bit unless I have an obvious opening. And then his rehab assignment is over like 5 or 6 days before rosters expand. Oh, I might have an opening here. Josh Ward is hurt. Diagnosis pending. That's a bummer. He's fragile, but I don't think he's had any injuries for me. Forearm stiffness. He missed a week. I mean, he hasn't any major injuries for me since I got him. He's had a couple. I guess that season, 2028 he did, but I think he was in the minors that day. But he hasn't really been that injury prone. I'm surprised he has a fragile rating. So Nola might be coming up to replace Ward here sooner rather than later. We'll see what the diagnosis is on that. I could add a lefty to the bullpen. I thought about it, but I think I'll be all right with Shearing and Ramos. On the 40-man, I can't remember if Drew Gray is a lefty that I could call up. I actually might call him up. Eaton, I believe, is a righty. Yeah, Eaton's a righty. Sanchez is a lefty. So I've got a couple lefties here. I think I'll probably call Drew Gray up if Ward goes on the IL for a while and let him be the third lefty in the bullpen because I do like to have 3 lefties there. So that's it. That's the team. So we brought in New Wiley, we brought in Gieske, and now we brought back Bryson Stott for one last run. When I saw him out there, I knew he had to be the guy. And there were no obvious great second basemen out there. Like, he was by far having the best season, and he was one of the higher rated guys out there. Bo Bichette was available, but having a really bad year. So Bryson Stott is here. And so our next update will be an end of season update in the next video. Hopefully that will not be we missed the playoffs video, but it could be. It could be, but I believe this team will make the playoffs, and I hope that we win one more World Series for you guys. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you with the end of season update in the end of September 2031.